So why am I recording this YouTube video? I've been thinking about that a lot. I mean, why do I feel a need to get myself in front of the camera? Is it to make myself personally feel better? No, for me, this is about how it feels as nearly a 25-year-old man to say I've had a therapist for the last 6 months. When I first joined my therapist, I didn't know what to expect. What can you expect? You kind of, these connotations, like misconceptions with therapy that you must have a mental health issue, or are you depressed? What's wrong with you? For me, I remember I must have been recommended to this therapist over a year ago now, and I didn't feel like I needed to. I can do it, I'll be fine. Another thing comes, something else grasps my attention, and that's kind of where my path would go. Go left, go right. But when I felt that was it, enough was enough, I remember asking my friend for the contact for this therapist that I've got, and 6 months on I can look, and I've literally half an hour ago just finished my my therapy session, and today, as every session goes, you start off and you kind of think, oh, don't go, what do you want to talk about, what's your goal, or whatever. And for the first couple of minutes, it's just an emotional dump from me. So that's how we start off. And my therapist goes to me, what do you want to talk about today, Ryan? And there we go. It's a dump, a brain dump. And then we'll find an aspect to that, grab on hold to run with it. And from that, it'll lead on to something else. And it's just a conversation with someone else who now I see as a friend, who is just there. Like, a lot of the times you could talk to your friend and you'd ask that friend subconsciously because you know they're going to agree with your answer. Now, with a therapist, it's more about someone who listens and listens intently. Like, it's not even about, I can't, you could say one minute thing and the therapist will pick up on that and before you know it, you've dived down this rabbit hole and you've come out and think, actually, that was the root cause of why I feel the way I feel, or the way I acted, or the way I reacted to a situation. So that's kind of how the therapy sessions navigate. There's not a singular topic. It's just a discussion for an hour and a half, potentially sometimes 2 hours like today's was. And as I sit here now, I think, well, I reflect on why I started a therapy. I remember ringing her up and we had a brief conversation, and I went in there I'd just come out of a relationship. It was a very brief relationship, but because it was one where I hadn't felt that connection with someone for a number of years prior to this person coming into my life, and then when it all ended, I went back to the old ways where I'd go on a bender for a few days and I'd be drunk and forget about it, and that was it, and then I'd do the same thing, and before you know it, I was just escaping reality because I couldn't deal with my emotions. And then from that, you kind of realise that was such a surface problem. When I dived down the rabbit hole, I actually found the reason why I've always had this imbalance of yo-yo effect in my life, where I've gone from highs to lows, and haven't ever really been able to have a balance, which I've been really working over for the last 6 months with my therapist. But the main root cause of me feeling emotionally distraught from my most recent relationship was because I hadn't dealt with the pain of losing my granddad. Now, for anyone who knows me, knows that my granddad was, and still is, my role model. It was a dad to me, and if he came in the room, I would just gravitate towards him. It was always the topic of conversation to me. I'd always want to do well at school to tell my granddad about it. So one thing for me was graduation. So I'd gone from all these years of in academics, and at 23 years of age, a couple of years ago now, I finished my degree, and I felt deflated on graduation day. I really did not know why. It should be the day of all the kind of achievements to that point in my life, and maybe it wasn't because he wasn't there. Maybe it was for the fact that this wasn't a personal goal. It was kind of more of a societary goal that, yeah, you kind of do GCSEs, A-levels, the degree, and then you get your job. It kind of wasn't like a personal goal to me. So with therapy, you kind of become more aware of all these different aspects of your life that you've kind of just been sitting at the back of my mind that I haven't brought to the forefront. I've kind of just lived this life where I'd work really hard for a few weeks, well, there was a couple of months more like, and then go and party, or it was always that up, down, up, down, up, down, like I said, the yo-yo effect. And therapy has kind of made me more emotionally stable. It's made me realise what actually matters to me. So one of the things that you do at the start, well, I did, I don't know whether this is what everyone does, but from my own experience, was that my therapist goes to me, Ryan, what are your passions? And I think everyone at the moment is so obsessed, not obsessed, but it's quite a topical conversation. What is your passion? Everyone's trying to find the passion, where for me, I never really knew what my passion was. I think if you asked me when I was younger, it would have been completely different to what it is now. But when I first started 6 months ago, I listed 5 passions. So going through them, one was to have a healthy relationship with alcohol. 2 was to do daily exercise, either running or going to the gym. 3 was to have, and this one was quite good, fun and supportive friends. 4 was to work on my own business, my own personal business, rather than just work itself. And then my 5th one, which I think was the main one, and I've spoken about it just, is to have more knowledge and control of my emotions. So for the first couple of months, it was hitting my emotions. I really needed to take full grasp on that, because I thought that one, if I achieved that, they would have a knock-on effect to all the others. And as we went through, we scored them. I started off very low, 1, 2, 3 out of 10 on some. And then on reflection, gradually build and build and build. And today, we were going to talk about them, and then we kind of didn't, because we're like, I feel like we would have marked them to a degree where they were all about 8, 9 out of 10s, but it would have been a time where it would have been a good time to produce new ones. So the reason I've made the point of these passions is because they're not your targets, they're not your goals, they're not your New Year's resolutions, where if anyone asked me, it'd be, get a 6-pack or lose weight, or get a running time, a 5k running time of under 20 minutes, or like their targets, their goals, their achievements. But passions were more self-growth. I'm still trying to work out a phrase other than passion to coin it, but I think that's the other thing I can do and to describe these. But one of them passions changed, I think it was 2 months in, where I said fun and supportive friends, and actually all I wanted was supportive. Fun is very subjective. Like, I could be having fun now with someone standing here, I don't know what's here, but someone standing here with me recording this video. So, yeah, I think for me, something as simple as the passions, even now, it helps me to navigate through my actions. So I was always the party guy. I mean, I'd go out Friday, Saturday nights. When I was at uni, we'd go out sometime midweek. And the majority of the time, I love to socialise, love to be around people. But over the last 6 months, I mean, obviously we've been in a COVID environment, so I haven't been able to go out as much. So that might have been a factor in me being able to control my drinking, and going out. But there's still been opportunities where we've been in different tiers or whatever the case may be, and you can go out as such. And for me, I've been able to really take control of that and think, why am I drinking? Am I doing it to enjoy myself, or am I doing it to escape? And once I became more self-aware and realised why I was doing certain things, my actions had to change. So I couldn't just say yes to every opportunity to go out, because I knew that would have a knock-on effect, because the next day I'd be hungover and then I'd be thinking about stuff that would just be making me feel worse and become more anxious. And I kind of realised that until I work internally, I can't drink. Now that sounds really, I think, I don't know what the word is, but it sounds really intense, I think. But in actual fact, now, most recent times when I've drank, I've been a happy drunk and a happier hungover person the next day, because I've worked with my internal emotions, so I haven't had this high of being drunk and having a great time to being horrendously low the next day when I've been hungover. So that was one aspect that therapy has helped me immensely. I think one thing that has to be mentioned is the fact that over the last 6 months, my relationship with my therapist, like I said, we came as strangers. I've still never met her personally. We just do Zoom calls. It's transitioned over to, like I said, friends. And the most recent one, which I think may be beneficial for people to hear, is how do I, as a single man, control my sexual feelings, in the sense that getting aroused or feeling the need to have sex with someone, yet still not to be like waste someone's time by meaninglessly texting someone or going out that night with the intention that I want to have sex with someone tonight. And I think it was a topic that it's just a hard topic to kind of say, because you feel, and honestly, a dick when you say, yeah, well, I just want to have sex with someone, but I don't really want anything. And it's not that you don't want a relationship or you don't want to have an emotional connection with someone. It was just that you thought, oh, in that moment, in that time, I just want to have sex. And for me, when we were talking about it, in actual, the reality was that I thought that I wanted to have sex, when actually sex, when it's not, you haven't had that emotional connection with someone, is, in personal experience, is pretty rubbish. So you can never really feel the pleasure you'd get unless you have an emotional connection with someone. So kind of the answer I got out of the situation was, that was an internal belief that, because I've been out so long, or I haven't had sex for so long, that I need to do this. I need to have sex. When actually I didn't need anything. It was just a belief that I had internally. When actually, in fact, when we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and now, I mean, yes, you'll have the moments where you're aroused, but it does not mean you need to have sex. You can have a one-on-one time to relieve that being aroused, and not have to start messaging someone or go out and get drunk to go and hopefully get laid at the end of the night. So I think it kind of come into that, like I said before, the self-awareness and when you look internally at what you've believed, and when you're open to different possibilities of what you believe for all these years, and you're willing to change or even just listen to someone else's opinion. I think that's a massive thing that therapy's helped with me, that you're not closed-minded at all now. You're open, you're listening to the right, you're listening to the left. You can hear people and actually listen to them rather than just hear them just like in one ear out the other. So I think one thing and I don't know, but this is one aspect I wanted to address, was that when people talk about therapy, how do you go about finding someone? Honestly, I was recommended by a friend to this therapist, and I 100% think it was one of the best things I've done personally. There's one thing I'd definitely say is that so it started off weekly appointments, and weekly sessions, sorry, and then we changed it to now bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. But one thing that was, I had a responsibility to myself to turn up to every session. And I remember on a couple of sessions, I never actually admitted this to my therapist, but I was hungover to hell. I'd gone out, it was right at the start, and one time I actually cancelled the session. I still paid for the session, but I cancelled the session because I was that hungover, I just couldn't do it. And I remember thinking, it made me realise that, what are you doing? You're going out, getting really drunk and missing a session that's going to help you. It just didn't seem to click in my head. That I was just doing it wrong, and that kind of was a moment where I'll never forget. I was sitting on my parents' couch just thinking, wow, you're missing an opportunity. Like, Ryan, you need to fix up. Now, with therapy, I'll just touch on it quickly, just so people know the cost associated to it. For me, it was £60 per session, and I don't know what other therapists charge, so I was obviously spending £240 per month at the start, and for a number of months, and to now only 120. Now, when you say that out loud, at first, everyone's really taken back. I think, God, that's a lot of money. Like, I don't think I could spend that, or I don't really want to spend that. Which, everyone to their own. But I think for me, when I broke it down and realised, if I went out for drinks, or if I went out for a meal and spent £60, I wouldn't think twice. I'd be like, oh, no, that's alright, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just going out, whatever the case may be. And then when I actually started to think, I need to invest in myself that's going to help me become a better person, the £60 was worthwhile every single time. Now, what do I want to talk about? I wrote it down when I did a bit of a brainstorm before I thought about this, and I've kind of just come across, I've tried to just take little bits of aspects that I've kind of thought will be beneficial to anyone thinking about therapy, and how my journey for the last 6 months has been with having a therapist. But one of the things I think, what needs to be realised, Ryan of 12 months ago would not have achieved, and I don't think I would have even gone past a month with having a therapist, because I wasn't in the right frame of mind. Now, this might sound really bizarre, because I think everyone should have a therapist, and that's not saying everyone's got a problem, everyone's got an issue, but just having that conversation with someone who is an intent listener and is there to help you become a better person of yourself is just the most refreshing feeling. I look forward to every session, and no session is alike, but would I recommend it to everyone? It all depends on what frame of mind you're in. Like, the best way I can put it is, when I was younger, I used to have a maths tutor and English tutor. I loved going to the maths tutor because I was good at maths. I hate going to English. I just didn't want to go there, and so my grades reflected in it. So in reality, I think it's better off becoming better at your strengths than working on your weaknesses, in the sense that I needed to want to go to the English tutoring like I did the maths. Or if I had a coaching session in cricket, I'd want to be there, I want to perform, instead of just turning up. And I think therapy would be very much the same. If I was not wanting to be there, I'd cancel more than just that once. I'd have sessions that just weren't worthwhile. And we've kind of got to the point now where my therapist would always set me homework and never asks, have you done it? Ever. Not even once. But I could see my therapist soon realise when she'd mention a book, I'd message her afterwards, oh, by the way, what was that called? And I've just finishing a book about chakras. You never have me talk about chakras or spirituality or anything like that, because I'd always just think, I don't know, I think the majority of people do. It's all voodoo stuff, it's hippie, it's kind of like, people, I don't know, it's spirituality, it's just a concept that everyone, it doesn't, for me, personally, I don't have a clue what it was about. And to a certain degree, I still don't. I'm just open to the idea that if I just change the minuscule, minute things in my life and create certain habits, I will become a better person. I think fundamentally that's what everyone wants to be. Just better than you were yesterday. Not better than Tom or Fred or Jennifer or Jess, just Ryan yesterday. So I think that's a good moment to end this video on. Do you want to wake up every day being a better version of yourself? And I think if you do, and you honestly deep down internally can say yes, I would 100% recommend therapy. And I would more than happy to give anyone my therapist's name and number and contact details to do so. So my name's Ryan Bostock, and this is my 6 months of hiring a therapist. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, I'm gonna make some more videos. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do so or what I'm gonna do, but I think I've got so many stories that I want to tell. So this is gonna be my YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you want to listen more. Let me know in the comments actually what you think, if it's helped, if I've missed anything that you'd want to hear, or you think would be, oh, you didn't quite cover this, I'll make another one, I'll make a part 2. I'd be very happy to do so. So yeah, thank you again for listening. I hope you guys have enjoyed it.